Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. Well, today I'm going to be doing the full review of one of my favourite watches that I've bought off Aliexpress. It is the Tactical Frog H5 Captain Willard Homage by Heimdallr. Now, I think I'm the only person that has bought this watch. On the store that I have bought it from, there is one purchase, and that is me. There's one review, and that is me. And I haven't been able to find this particular watch on any other store. So I'm going to leave a link down to the store for this particular watch, the store that I bought it from. It is going to be one of those affiliate links. So if you do decide to buy it and click on that link, I do appreciate it. It does mean I'll earn a tiny little bit of commission on your purchase, but it won't cost you any more money. Now, if you are interested in a Captain Willard watch, there are obviously a few options available. However, for me, the original Captain Willard is well outside my price range. We're talking a huge amount of money for that. Even the reissue by Seiko is 1,400 Australian dollars. So that's a little bit beyond what I'm willing to spend on this watch. Now, I paid 206 Australian dollars for this particular watch, and I'm quite happy with that sort of money, especially for the quality of watch that it ended up arriving on the door. However, if you are spending a less amount of money or a more affordable amount of money, there are a few other options as well. Apparently, Steel Dive does a very affordable version of this, which is quite good value for the money. And I know Heimdallr themselves also do a Heimdallr branded version of this watch. I haven't had any experience with that in hand. However, looking at the videos, looking at the pictures, they do look very similar to this Tactical Frog. I know that they are making this Tactical Frog, so to be honest, they probably are very similar, or if not the same, other than a different logo. I am very excited about this watch. I've made a number of videos about this watch already, and I'm really looking forward to doing this in-depth review just to show you why I like it so much. So let's flip the camera around now and let's check it out. So let me show you why I'm so excited about this Tactical Frog. Firstly, it just comes in this Pelican case, which I'm quite happy with these sort of cases that are coming from Aliexpress. They really do protect your watch, as well as don't take up too much room in my drawer, which is where I keep all boxes for my watch. Comes with your warranty card, which is obviously unfilled. Comes with this little hang tag thing with the little bits and pieces showing off it's a Tactical Frog. And then we've got our watch. And straight out of the box, I can see that it is a wonderfully well-made watch, and it really looks really good. It feels really good. It has that nice sort of weight in your hand. It's what you expect from a watch that probably costs a lot more than this one here. Now, I went for the variation that came with the slightly thicker hands, but with a point. But there's two other options available. There is a more standard option, which has just a squared off hands. And then there's another option which has more skinny or slender sort of tapered off hands. No matter which of the three that you decide to choose, all the dimensions are going to be the same. We have a 42.2 millimeter case diameter. Now that sounds huge, but don't worry about it because this is homaging a Seiko. It has those Seiko dimensions, so it fits really well to the wrist. It is 13.4 millimeters thick. It is a compact 46.2 millimeters lug to lug, and it has a 20 millimeter lug width. And on this supplied rubber strap, it weighs in at 114.5 grams. And I'm already going to say straight off the bat that this is in my top 2, perhaps top 3 watches from Aliexpress. It's been getting a huge amount of wrist time, and I really think not only is it comparable against some of these much better brands or much well-known brands like San Martin or Cronos, but I think it actually equals, may even exceed them in some ways. Obviously, that's a big claim, but I really do think it's that good. And let me show you why I think it's that good. Well, let's start off with the dial, obviously. You can see straight away that there's a very strong blue anti-reflective coating. Now, not only does it work very well, this anti-reflective coating, and as you can see from my studio lights now that you can see straight through, whereas normally I'm trying to always play between the light and the dark to try and show you the face of the watch or the dial of the watch. But it also gives you this sort of touch and burst of blue color, which I think is actually quite nice. And then it ties into this little engraved Tactical Frog logo here, which is also in blue. But let's talk back about the dial. We have a matte black dial, very neat and tidy, nothing too special, but it is very well done. We have a printed minute track in white around the outside. We have a printed Tactical Frog logo. We have the words Tactical Frog, automatic, water, 200 meters water resist. Underneath is one of my issues with this watch, and I don't have too many issues with the watch. It says limited edition. Well, that's fine. I doubt it is a limited edition. That's not my concern. My concern is these numbers here, the 6105, I think it's 8110. My issue with that is actually the Seiko's designation of the Captain Willard watch. I don't think they should have homaged those numbers or copied those numbers. I don't think they needed to, and I think it doesn't really detract from the watch at all because it is so small. but it just starts to make me think, well, yes, they're copying a watch, they're homaging a watch, but they shouldn't be putting the serial numbers or the identification numbers of a Seiko on the dial. But my standout features are what's in between that AR coding and that dial there. It is those applied indices, those hands, that second hand, and that date window and how well they've applied or surrounded it with that little date frame. Those indices are probably some of the best applied indices that I've seen on any watch, let alone a watch at this sort of price. And those hands, and let me try and show you, they are brushed throughout the center. Here we go. They are brushed down the center and they have a high polished on the outside. And it's done in such a superb, clean way. It's quite amazing. That second hand is lovely. Obviously it's homaging the Seiko, but it's done very well. I like how it's pushed out halfway up through that minute track, so you can see it pushes right out and gives you that really nice look and overlap onto that minute track. And you'll see in the center there's actually a little cap on top of that second hand, or the column, whatever they call it there. Most watches from Aliexpress don't have that. It's generally more the higher end watches. I've seen it on Cronos before, I've seen it on San Martin watches before, but I haven't seen it on any of the other watches that have been put out by Aliexpress. Now, obviously those indices and those hands are all lume filled, and they are very well lume filled. Let me throw in a lume video for you now. I'm very impressed by this lume. This is lume that really does make me sort of think about my Seiko watches. I'm not going to say it's as good as my Seiko watches, that Seiko Lumi Bright, but it is certainly well done. It certainly lasts significantly long periods of time during the night. And it's also one of those watches that when you go outside and you get a little bit of sunlight on your watch and you go inside and you get that sort of brilliant blaze of color coming from your watch, this watch gives you that little tingle when you come back inside during the day and you get that burst of nice lume. Now that AR coating is on a flat piece of sapphire crystal, but it has a beveled edge. Now I'm going to try and show you here. You can see I can get my nail in between the bezel as well as that beveled edge. So it actually drops down inside the watch there. What that actually does, which I really like, it's a nice little feature. I'm not sure if they're doing it deliberately, and I'm fairly sure the actual Seiko does this as well. You can see it looks like there's two sets of minute tracks, but there's actually not. There's only the one. It's just that sort of angle of the sapphire crystal, which is reflecting or refracting that minute track. And it gives you another little feature to the watch, especially when you're moving it around and see, oh, there's just 1 minute track, and now there's 2 minute tracks. It just gives you a little bit more oomph on the dial, a little bit more interest. And let's talk about the bezel, because it's one of the better features of this watch, especially when we're talking about Aliexpress watches. That's a piece of black ceramic insert into there. We have a nice chunky coin edge bezel, which is very nice and easy to hold on to. And we have one of the best actions of a bezel that I've come across on almost any watch. You know, I particularly like Seiko bezel action, but this one's really good as well. Has that very nice solid feeling, has no backplay, has no movement up and down, back and forth, and it's really nice. Unlike a Seiko, it all lines up. Look at that, there we go, looking good, fantastic. And the case here, all the top has a very circular brushing, very nicely done, very neat. You see, it's almost like a satin look, certainly feels very soft to the touch. Underneath we have these high polished sides, just like the Seiko that is homaging. And just like the Seiko that is homaging, it has that really nice tactile feel. It's very soft to touch. I find that a lot with Seiko watches in general, that they just feel nice to touch. This one has that same feel. When we turn the watch over, there is a vertical brushing on the case back. Again, that's actually done really well. I'm really quite impressed by that. I know, again, I keep talking about this, but a lot of the Aliexpress watches that I get, they tend to be quite good, but there tend to be some sort of shortcomings. And the case back sometimes behind this, the case back itself, sometimes ends up being a little bit rough. This one's very well executed, very nice and soft to the touch. Obviously, we have a screw down case back. We have a nice etched in frog there. Looks very neat and tidy, doesn't it? I really like it. Now, the crown itself, you'll see, has these little cutouts. Now, that is exactly what the Captain Willard watch had. So it is homaging that as well. Very soft to the touch. It is obviously guarded by the case here. Inside here, we do have an NH35 Seiko. It is very easy to grab hold of and action. It is a manually wind as well. And of course, it has hacking. Now, we have seen an NH35 on a time grapher before, but I'm always interested to see, because I get quite a few into my hands, it is nice to see the differences between them. So let's throw this one on the time grapher and see how it performs. Well, it's not really a bad set of numbers. As you can see, it's vibrating at 21,600 vibrations per hour, 0 beat error, which is fantastic to see. Amplitude is probably slightly low, but it's still within a healthy range at 222, and it's running a little bit slow, around -4, -5 seconds a day. That's a little bit odd for one of these sort of movements. Quite often they're generally +5, +10 seconds a day. So around this within this sort of range is perfectly acceptable. I have no problems with that. As you can see, it's now running at -1 second a day. So I think that's pretty good for this watch, and I'm very happy with that. And it comes on this supplied rubber strap. It's a black strap. It actually feels okay. It's a little bit stiff, but it's quite soft. I think it's okay. It's quite thick to touch. Has this slightly strange, interesting pattern with the holes all the way up to the edge here. Same on the other side. The hardware, as you can see, has the Heimdallr shark. So as I've said, I think there is a close relationship between these tactical frog watches and Heimdallr. Underneath we have this sort of waffly sort of style, which I guess lets your wrist breathe a little bit. And the bits that attach to it, they're quite good. They feel quite solid. It feels okay. Now, I do have to say that I'm not a major rubber strap fan on watches. If they are going to have a rubber strap, they need to be particularly good. This one's not my favorite, and let me show you why. With it on my 6 3/4 inch wrist, I just think it sits a bit funny. I don't like how it sits with this rubber strap. I think perhaps because this part of the strap is a little bit thicker, so it doesn't bend quite as much, whereas the bits below are a little bit softer and a little bit more pliable. If it had been more pliable all the way around, it would have conformed to my wrist a little bit better. As it is, it kind of feels like it's sitting on top of my wrist a little bit. You can see the gap there, sort of sitting up above my wrist. However, from the watch itself, you can see it actually fits really well to my 6 3/4 inch wrist. It's a medium-sized wrist, and I think these sort of dimensions, especially this extra short lug-to-lug, work really well. But I've been wearing this watch a lot, and obviously I have not been wearing it on this strap because I don't like it very much. I have tried it on a bunch of different straps. I tried it on my engineered style Aliexpress bracelet, which didn't look too bad. I didn't mind it too much. I tried it on a canvas strap that I had, and then I tried it on a leather strap. And you wouldn't think that this is the sort of watch that would look great on a leather strap, but oh, I love it. And let me show you. And here we have it on this really lovely dark brown leather strap. This one actually came on a watch that I bought secondhand, and it really didn't suit it, which is really strange because it's a beautifully lovely textured feeling strap. But I stuck it on this watch and I thought, wow, yeah, I actually really like that. Now, I'm not going to say everybody's going to love this sort of combination, but it works for me and I'm going to keep it like that. Going to keep it on this one, love it a lot. So what do I like, what don't I like, and what would I change? Well, here's a long list of things that I like. I love those applied indices. They're one of the best that I've ever seen. Those hands are absolutely fantastic. The loom is really good. Love that AR coating. Not only does it work very well, but I think it really gives you that pop of blue color. I love that sort of little blue frog on the side of the crown. I think that works very well. Not only is it a nice little size and a nice logo to put on a crown, but it gives you a little bit of an oomph as well. And it's nice to tie those blue colors together. The bezel action is brilliant. I really enjoy using the bezel on this one. The case finishing is absolutely fantastic. I really like how they've done the crown as well. So, a lot of positives there. What don't I like about it? Well, obviously I don't like the strap. I've changed it over to this brown leather strap. And what would I change? Well, there's only a couple of things that I really would change. Firstly, I'd like it on a better strap, obviously, but that's okay. I'm perfectly happy with having it on this brown leather strap. And the other thing, and it's not a bad thing, I really like this frog on the back here. I love case backs with engravings on them. I would just love to see that to be a little bit more 3D, a little bit further etched. It's fairly light etched on there. You know, it's certainly not coming up. It is completely etched on there, as you can see. But imagine if that was a really deep 3D effect on that case back. I think that would bring this up even further. I love a nice deep 3D etched case back on a watch. Okay, so let's jump back to me and I'm going to give you some of my final thoughts about one of my favorite watches of 2021 and probably one of my favorite watches ever from Aliexpress. Ever since this watch arrived on my doorstep, I can't stop wearing it. I've been wearing it almost every single day. I've got to the point now, because I've got some other watches that I do want to review and get some wrist time, that when at home, Obviously not when going out. I do end up wearing double wrists at the moment, or wearing 2 watches, one on each wrist, just to get a little bit of wrist time with other watches as well. Because when I do these reviews of watches, I want to have a considerable amount of experience with them before giving you an in-depth review. It has surprised me that I'm actually the only person to have bought this watch. Maybe it just gets lost on the site. I know Aliexpress is a huge place with lots and lots of different watches available. I certainly can say to you that I absolutely recommend this watch. This is by far either the best or the second best watch that I've ever had experiences with from Aliexpress. Well, thank you very much for watching. I really hope that in this video I've actually been able to show to you and particularize all the bits and pieces about why I think this is such a great watch. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon.